Good morning, students. This message is a recorded message explaining the pages that you will be doing in your My Notebook or your digital workbook is what I call it. And this is just a few examples and a few explanations before you head over to Google Classroom and select the notebook pages to fill in the answers. So we are skipping ahead to Unit 7, no quiz, but Unit 7 goes back to kind of merges with Unit 1 here because they start talking about paint ratios. We need to think about ratios and items coming in parts. Like a lot of times recipes are used, but if you've ever painted your room and you've gone into Home Depot or Lowe's department store or our very own Ace Hardware store, and you walk up to this wall of different shades of green. And I picked green because here we have grasshopper green. Okay, grasshopper green is a different shade of green than gorgeous green. Okay, grasshopper green is made by following this. It has 2 parts blue and 7 parts yellow. How do I know that it was 2 parts blue and 2 parts yellow? Because of the order of the way the words were written out, and that is the order of the numbers. Okay, it's directions, kind of like directions. It's like ingredients and on recipe cards, and when you need to mix things together first and dump in something else second, etc. Gorgeous green is also a shade of green, but it has a little different ingredient or a little different recipe to get that shade, and you need to always make gorgeous green following this ratio. 4 parts blue, 5 parts yellow. You can compare ratios, which is what we were doing yesterday by linking rate tables. So this is how, if I have 1 can of gorgeous green, these are the amount of each color. If I have 2 cans, I would then double this ratio. If I had 3 cans, I would then triple this ratio. And then we can work backwards. But you can compare ratios. You can find out which ratio makes paint, like what if you are a person who likes green, but you like your green to be a little bit more on the blue side versus more on the yellow side. That might give you more blue, might give you just a shade darker green, and more yellow would make it a little bit more lighter in green. So to find out which paint is more blue, make the values for yellow the same. If the values are yellow for same, we then can compare the other part, blue, and if the yellow is the same, the paint with the more blue in it and its equivalent ratio would be more blue or a darker green. Just to give you a heads up, this is kind of a tricky sentence that throws 6th graders off. That's all they're doing is like if we make one of our parts of our ingredient the same and we scale up, or we find the equivalent ratio, like finding equivalent fractions, we'll find that one will have more blue than the other, which would then answer our question. So one way to do this is to make the values for yellow to be the product of the yellow values in the basic ratios. So and I'll go through this more and I'll highlight some things, but I'm going into teaching and I promised myself I wouldn't do that. But and then we're going to answer these questions, and I will put that onto my notes, onto actually screenshots on a notebook. When you won't have to do this page because we're not going to compare our colors using a graphing strategy just yet. Ratios as a quotient. Remember, quotient is the definition of a division problem, and you'll see here that we're writing unit rates, but we can have a fraction compared to a whole number 1. So you can have a fraction per 1. And that's kind of what they're talking here, and I'll go through, they're comparing beverages, cherry and orange juice mixtures. And then we can cover lesson 2 today, using unit rate language to describe ratios. So Pedro will talk about that in my notes a little bit. Here's a unit rate for the ratio 7:4. So what's the unit rate? So we'll go through some examples from that. And then comparing ratios using their unit rates. This is just a fancy way of saying if you're going to a store and they sell items in bulk, but you don't need all of the items they're selling, so you only buy one of the items versus five of the items, they will calculate the rate out to the price for one, called the unit rate. And that's what you want to do to, your money's important to you, so it's always good to compare prices, and you compare how much you're paying for one to see if it's the best deal. Using a unit rate strategy here is just a couple of word problems we'll go through together. And variations on the unit rate strategy. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. In fact, I'm kind of watching the clock. We'll just do it. We'll practice a couple of problems to see how it works out for you guys, but don't worry about it if you're at a loss. It won't show up on a test or quiz. Okay, so I'm going to move on to now my writing option. And see if I can get this into a 15-minute or less video so you can get to work. Comparing pay ratios. I don't have a whole lot of time here. Will it let me? Nope. I'm going to pause. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to be doing some adjusting because I didn't do that before I started recording. But for the sake of time, here's the story again. Grasshopper green is made by mixing 2 parts blue to 2 parts to 7 parts yellow. Notice this is the amount that's blue. This is the amount that's yellow. Okay, and blue and yellow make green. So I'll use kind of a green pen here. Okay, so to make grasshopper green, we have 2 parts blue and 7 parts yellow. To make gorgeous green, we have 4 parts blue and 5 parts yellow to get a little different shade. We can compare ratios by making, so one strategy and to make a comparison would be finding equal amounts of one of those parts and then scaling up the rest. So here we have what is the product of the yellow values in the basic ratios. So this is the basic ratio row. If you remember, it is where the greatest common factor for that row is 1, which is our case here. The greatest common factor is 1. And what we want to do is we want to make the same parts yellow. So what they did was they found the lowest common multiple for the parts that were yellow. So we're looking at 5 and 7. And the lowest common multiple of 5 and 7 is 35, and they filled that in for us. And then the next step is to figure out the product of the yellow values in the basic ratios. That's 35. And you won't always have to multiply them together to get this number. There might be a smaller multiples. That way you're not working with such large numbers. But then to find this missing one, does this look like anything? I mean, this looks like a factor puzzle, but a strategy that the book is saying, you could do your factor puzzle and that's fine. But another option is to figure out what did you multiply this row by to get this one, and that's multiplied this one by 7. So I have to multiply 4 times 7, and I would get 28. Equivalent ratios kind of look like equivalent fractions. Okay, so, 35. So what that means is to keep gorgeous green looking like it should, and I want to buy more of it, I would have 35 parts yellow, and to keep it the same shade, I'd need 28 parts blue. Okay, now here, we need to make the parts yellow to determine which one has more blue in it, so the parts yellow have to be the same. And this one's multiplied by 5, so 2 has to be multiplied by 5. So grasshopper green keeps its shade. Even though I've increased the parts yellow, I've increased the parts blue by the same multiplier. So this one is 10 parts yellow or blue to 35 parts yellow. And because our denominators are the same, which one is more blue? I look at the parts, the blue parts, and there are 28 blue parts to 35 yellow in gorgeous green, and there's only 10 blue parts compared to the 35 parts yellow in grasshopper green. Therefore, gorgeous green. If I want a green that is more blue, I would buy gorgeous green. Okay, and that's kind of like, sometimes you can think of it as leveling the playing field. So it's kind of weird because your brain almost has to work a little backwards. If I want to figure out which one's more blue, why am I starting by finding equal parts yellow? It's like what we have to do when we add or subtract fractions. We can't add 2/7 to 4/5. We have to find a common denominator before we can add. Same thing when you're comparing ratios. If you want to find which one has more or less of the other parts, you find a common multiple of the part, and then so you can compare the others. Is there any more on this page that I can help you before you go? Which paint is less blue? Well, then by process of elimination, that leaves us with grasshopper green. Okay, because it has less parts compared to the same parts yellow. Which paint is less blue? That's a repeat. Okay, and then it's now this is what I would like you guys to do, is to pause this video, go to Google Classroom, and open up page 397 in Google Classroom, fill in the top half, and now see if you can repeat those steps for the bottom half. Now I want to see which paint is more yellow. And is it true? Well, if the other one's more blue, then the opposite one must be more yellow? Could be. Well, let's prove it mathematically. A lot of times people want proof, and that's usually using your mathematical skills. So pause the video, head over to Google Classroom, and open up your lesson titled Digital Workbook, page 397, and complete as much of that as you can. And then come back. Okay, I hope that went well for you. I'll check your answers in my in your notebooks on my side as a teacher view. But there's another way of comparing, and when we were talking about grasshopper green and gorgeous green, we scaled up by finding a common multiple. You can also scale down or reduce to a unit rate, which, remember, unit rates are per 1. Okay, so they are per 1. So it's like almost reducing, and in doing so, in this example, we're going to find that the other part of our ratio might just be a mixed number or fraction. So here we have Sue and Ben, and they have some juice fruit punch recipes. Sue's recipe has 5 cups cherry juice for every 4 cups orange juice. So that's how she's mixing. Now Ben has 6 cups cherry juice and 5 cups orange juice. If we want to find the amount of cherry juice in just 1 cup of orange juice, remember that when you divide both quantities in a ratio table by the same number, you get an equivalent ratio. So that's like reducing a fraction to lowest terms, like we did in our fraction chapter. So there really isn't any work on this. Well, I'll explain what Sue did. So here's Sue's recipe: 5 cups cherry to 4 cups orange. We don't want 4 cups of orange juice. We only have 1 cup of orange juice left in our refrigerator. So we have to scale down or reduce the amount of cherry juice to keep the flavor the same. And so from 4 to 1, we would divide by 4. So we would have to divide 5 by 4 to figure out the amount of cups of cherry juice. And you can just leave it like that, 5/4. You need 5/4 of a cup. Or if leaving it as an improper fraction, if you want to make that 1 1/4 cups, that's fine. Think of cutting recipes in half or thirds. You might just need, you don't always have whole number cups in your recipes. So for every 1 cup, and we don't write it in here, but 1 cup of orange juice, she would need to add 5/4 cups of cherry juice to keep her beverage mix tasting the same. So I would like you to, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to stop right there and pick up with the second video, and hopefully the second video is really, really, really short.